thought we showed that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Downtown Development Authority for Wednesday, May 2nd, 2018 at 7 p.m. We can do a roll call.
Yes. Seidel?
Yep.
Humphreys?
Yes.
Siglo?
Present.
Brandt? Chaika?
Here.
Hayes?
Here.
Poznanski?
Here.
Kraft?
Yep.
Parker?
Right.
You have
You
quorum.
forgot to ask Rex.
Oh, Rex.
Is that going to be on the
Your
minutes?
bad. Sure.
It's kind of pointing the wrong way to ask.
It's going to end up on YouTube somewhere. You know that.
Exactly.
All right, next public forum. We don't have anybody except Rex, but I guess he's part of the crew now. Now we need an approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'd like to add something to the agenda if possible.
Okay.
I'd like to ask for some funding for the new farmers market, or just at least a discussion upon that.
So what, you're asking for funding requests? Do you have the paperwork for it?
No, I just want discussion.
So should we not put it on, we shouldn't put it under funding requests then without the proper
Well, then put it
paperwork,
under
right?
farmers market.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just talk about it.
Yeah, sure, all right, that'll work. Put it under, we'll do it under committee reports then. So so the agenda will stay the same?
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion by President Siglo. Do we have a second? Second by Poznanski. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next we need an approval of the minutes for the March 7th regular meeting and then our special meeting from April 18th.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion by President Siglo to approve, you're approving both sets of minutes? All right, do we have a second?
Support.
Second by Poznanski. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
All right. Next we have Carol with the treasurer's reports.
I printed it out, so it's backwards. It's my fault, not Carol's.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Okay,
it's-
well, I
printed it.
apologize for not being here the last few months, but we didn't have quorum anyway, so what the hell. So this report is actually for February, March, and April. Our liquid assets are $119,432.84. We have uncollected revenue of $116,581.63. Basically, the only thing we've paid during that time were payroll checks and taxes, some mileage reimbursement, the money for the brackets for the banners that are out on display right now, and 2 phone bills. So that comes to $6,130.
Just out of curiosity, with the mileage, what was that?
It was Costco's and to the county.
Gotcha.
And that is what we paid, or that's what we need to pay?
We paid it, I paid it.
Okay.
She submitted a mileage report.
No, I mean, all 6,000.
Oh, no, they've all been cut.
Okay.
The banner brackets were approved at another meeting, and the rest is basically payroll and telephone.
Payroll is automatically kind of approved, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I signed off on all of
Yeah.
them. So, all right. Thank you.
And if anybody wants to see anything, I brought it.
So this would be us approving March,
February,
April-
March, and April.
February, March, and April. Okay.
So that's 3 months. That's not really a whole lot.
No, not at all. I thought it would be. I thought it would be a lot.
No,
more, to be
it's
honest.
not, actually, it's not enough.
True, very true.
You looking for a motion?
All right,
I'll make a
motion.
motion to pay the bills.
Motion by
I'll
President
second it
Siglo,
this time.
second by Seidel. Lisa, can we do a roll?
Yes. Siglo,
Yes.
Seidel,
Yes.
Parker,
Yeah.
Kraft,
Yep.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Chyka,
Yes.
Humphries.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, very good. Next we have Lisa Hall with the director report.
I talked to Ray, the office, you know, the corner across the street from the Hance building where we planted the flowers at. Those flowers still didn't grow good last year. I talked to Ray. He asked me if I could talk to Zach and see if we could get some additional soil put in there. And I talked to you about having the Romeo R done there. It's not gonna work, it's just a little too, it's big and there's a stone in there and it just won't work, but he's gonna get me a price on what it would cost to add some soil so that something will grow there. Talked to the guy with the vacant marathon site. I talked to the guy last week at the corner for BP about a dumpster corral back there, and they seem to be interested.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go back and talk to them on Friday, and
They're receptive to it?
yeah, they were receptive to it.
Receptive to them building it or us building it?
Well, receptive to, you know, talking to us about building it if, you know, they didn't, he's not gonna commit one way or the other with money until there's a discussion figuring out what would need to happen. We did the banner reveal.
If we did a dumpster crow back there, is it just for the BP or is it all the
No,
ones
it would
along
be all the
Bailey
one,
and the ones at the party store and the ones?
right, it would
The
be
goal would
the,
be to
So-
clean it up and.
Right.
So you take
Condense.
10 dumpsters down to 2? Or
yeah, it
whatever.
would be the ones
Currently
behind.
3 dumpsters.
Yeah, there's 3.
There's 3 that I can think of. Is there something behind the buildings on Bailey?
Yeah, there's one right on the corner. There's a grease one and a
There's a
dumpster.
couple back there.
Yeah, one's a grease and one's a dumpster.
Because the place in the corner uses the one with the Thai people and the smokehouse people. They're all using,
What's the problem with the way it is?
Other than really not looking very
because it
nice.
smells to high hell and it's people. Okay, Mike, you asked what there is a real problem with unauthorized use because people are too cheap in the townships to pay for their $20 a month or whatever it is for. I don't care if they're taping it, the trash pickup. So they come and they dump it in those dumpsters, and half the time they just dump it on the ground, and it's unsightly.
They do that.
And that right now,
Everywhere.
the 2 dumpsters are there at my sufferance because it's on my property, and we've been trying to bring it down in terms of the number of dumpsters and then quote unquote corral it, so you got a key to get in there and if somebody.
Mine is locked and they just pile stuff on top of
It
it.
drives you nuts.
Just pile stuff on top of it.
So you need everybody in the complex to agree on a couple big dumpsters?
Well, right now it's down to,
Right, 3 or 4.
I think there's 3 or 4. I mean, it's the Thai restaurant, the Buscemi's in my 2 buildings and Tommy's building, because I know Tommy dumps his dump. They dump their stuff in that.
Uptown guy owns all of that though,
Huh?
right? He doesn't own all that anymore?
Who?
Uptown.
Uptown guy.
No, he owns the center and he owns his own store. But then there's the smokehouse people and there's a house there, I think they use it for storage, it's kind of like falling down. And then I think there's some, you're telling me there's some cans behind the strip center, which I didn't know that. I guess there had to be a grease one someplace.
I'm saying at least
Well,
2.
And
Then a
that's-
grease.
What you try to do is get it confined in a place which is not visually offensive and
Yeah.
olfactory
Well, that's-
offensive too. Stevens have to put up with it during the summer whenever it's their high season for using that grounds, and if it's a dead day like today, and it can be ghastly out in their backyard, and it's not right, you know?
Well, we've got a board member whose business is utilizing one of the only dumpster corral in town right now, so what's your thoughts on it? Has it been good the way it's set up, or do you Miss the old setup.
50/50,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
Negative, minus the alley.
I'll take.
Forget the alley part of it.
I'll
Just
take
the
it.
dumpster.
I'll take that.
Just the
Time out at
just
50/50.
the dumpster
You're
part.
gonna have who's gonna clean it and who's not gonna clean it in the whole 9 yards. And you're gonna have it dumped. That's quite a few stores over there. You probably have to have it dumped every day or every other day over there.
Realistically,
Ted, how,
it's not that many. It's just the Thai restaurant, which really does a huge takeout business, and then the Four Corners.
Four Corners.
Four Corners. They have a lot, but right now it's getting. Believe it or not, the big dumpster, which is non-food, although Buscemi's uses it too. I mean, they don't have restaurant food. That one gets dumped twice a week, and the other one gets dumped once a week. And so
But I think-
if we could just pull it down to the number of, and put it someplace which was more,
But if you wanna get rid of the smell, you get rid of the stuff every day.
I know that,
You know,
and
if you
that's,
wanna try.
but that's not gonna happen with the cost.
Is there a village ordinance for that?
No.
How come?
It's a glitch in the planning commission rules that you can just bring a restaurant in and nobody says where you're gonna put your garbage. There's nothing in the zoning ordinances that requires you to have enclosed dumpsters for trash.
You just go on the northwest quadrant and look at the how many dumpsters are back there. You need more than 2 hands to count them all. You know, there's a lot.
Oh, yeah,
So
right.
I mean, we should focus on cleaning that up too at some point and have a consistent plan for each existing quadrant that doesn't
Well, Mitch
have.
brought that up, because we need more room, right?
We do.
For some reason, the church, I don't, forgive me if I don't know the name of the church, the one that is across from the post office.
Congregational.
Church.
They don't, for some reason, the village used to be able to use that parking lot in the post office, and for some reason they can't anymore. When we talk about projects and purchasing things, could we
It's out of
possibly
jurisdiction.
purchase that parking lot?
I
With
think
what
it's out of our
money?
jurisdiction, right?
Is it out of our jurisdiction?
That's out of the DDA jurisdiction.
Is it just out?
It's just,
All right.
We could extend it, we could
Okay.
extend the borders.
The village
We
could purchase it.
We could talk about this all night long, but I think maybe table some of this for our budget meeting and
We
get
can only
into
buy
deep.
property in our district.
Right, right.
I don't know, that's what I'm saying.
I think so. We can't spend money
Never
outside.
thought of
It'll,
that.
you know.
I have a question, Ted. How close to the restaurant does a grease trap need to be?
Oh, good question, I wouldn't know.
There is a law on that, it has to be X amount of feet away from the
I
building,
wouldn't
or
know.
it's a fire hazard. I know there is a,
Ted would know more than me on that.
there's a.
I've never heard of the law like that.
There's some grease traps are in the building, so.
It used to be right behind his building. I
I
mean,
used to have it for 30 years behind.
I'm not saying it's village, I
Is
think
yours
it's
in or
county.
out?
you're going with that.
Like,
Ours is in
like,
the
it has to
new
be
corral.
And then
certain
they're
away from the building.
Is it hard to get the grease to it?
Dangerous, you gotta have common sense.
Yeah.
Don't pick the grease up until it cools down, people.
All right, so we can, I think we should save this for
Budget talks.
budget meeting. That way we can kind of plan something and have our discussion.
That way we can stop talking real fast.
Then we'll see what the
We
conversation
start
goes.
talking budget.
Okay, we're going through, we're still on the director report,
yeah, I
right?
just, yeah, it'll only take a second. I'd like to, I mean, for the banner reveal, Costco donated some cookies. I'd like to thank Culligan for water. Wendy's donated free Frosty coupons. And of course, the chamber let us use the yard and, you know, we're very gracious. And I'd like to thank the Mitt for coming out and covering.
Was it a good turnout?
It wasn't as big as the Christmas one, but, you know, Christmas is all little kids. You know,
Gotcha,
whereas with
gotcha.
this,
It was
A lot of high school.
spring sports, you know, like all
Yeah.
the kids.
Plus,
Yeah.
a lot of people are in town for the holidays when you do something like that.
right, so, but it turned out really
It's
well.
pretty decent.
So what are you saying about that vacant gas station?
The vacant gas station, I talked to the gentleman, he was interested in if there was anything he might be able to do there.
That's not in the business district.
It isn't in the business district, but he, you know,
He's
we're kind of
sort
reaching out and seeing what could happen. So I just talked to him for a little while.
I thought
Talked
that
with-
was grandfather.
After it's out, majority of the time with planning, after it's not used for a year, then they lose the,
Lisa,
like, they use the commercial.
there's been case law on it, where these
Mhm.
things have sat vacant for 20, 30 years. And the
Yeah.
tanks are in the ground, everything's there. Only thing you gotta do is put the pumps up, and you can start opening. There's case, I understand what you're saying.
Right.
That used to be traditionally true, but I know, because it's happened in our Con Ed classes, that it's talked about, and the court says it's, oh my God, that's a gas station, let's get real about this, people.
Well, he took the tanks out.
There's, really,
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't.
Yes, he did. He took the tanks out.
make a nice real estate office.
Or apartments.
You interested?
The one thing I wanted to bring up, there is, one of the planters behind the office pub is broke.
Right.
Ray pointed that out to
Is
me.
that the one with the zip tie?
Yeah.
It's the fancy one.
Yeah, Ray went and
It's
zip
got
tied
that
it,
nice
okay, or ratchet strapped it. I called a couple places to get a new one, to get one exactly like that. Would you have to go out of state, and it's ridiculous what it would cost, be around $3,000 to get it here.
Well, they're pretty
kidding me?
expensive on the bar.
Yeah, that's what it costs, so I reached out to some other places. Ray suggested building cedar ones at like $550 a piece. Had another guy say he couldn't build exactly, but he could cover those in like a cultured stone and build a new one. But
Why don't we
it
just
still
go-
leaves 3 back there, or we could move
Why don't
them.
we just go down one planter and readjust the 3 that we got and we'll be done?
Couldn't we,
Yeah.
couldn't we get one out of storage over at the DPW?
The
yard?
round ones? Don't go there.
No.
Roll it uphill.
So there's two.
There's 3 left.
There's three
There's
left.
3 left,
I
They're
see.
all on that same,
all on that same.
I say we rearrange it,
yeah,
yeah.
just, if you can actually move them.
We gotta, yeah, empty and have the DPW come
Yeah.
down with Ohio.
I say.
And let's face it, it's, somebody's gonna back into it again, usually it's a truck with a bog,
Well, did
ditch
did
on
somebody
it.
hit it?
They get hit all the time and moved all the time.
Well, it's like Ted said, they leave the ball in their trunk and they back up and
Right.
puts a nice perfect little
They get
send
scooched.
load.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if that's did we need to make a motion on that or did we just?
No, I
we
was just letting you know.
Cut it down to 3 and.
Maybe just go take a look on Friday and see what works.
Mhm.
So I just feel like if we did cedar, they would literally get knocked off and pushed over.
Mhm.
These are so
Yeah.
heavy, they haven't
light.
done that.
Yeah, yeah.
I, years ago, did them out of womanized lumber. And you can do it out of womanized 4x4s. You fill them full of dirt, and the truck will back up before those things will back up.
Yeah, they move pretty.
I've done it. I mean, I had them there for 20 years. I built all of the stuff in the bank parking lot. And I don't care what truck you got. You hit a 2-foot wall of dirt and 4x4s, it does not move. The truck moves, really. They just, they wore out. That's, and then we
Mhm.
replaced them with a lot of other stuff. But
Right,
4x4s will work with, if you fill them all the way up with dirt.
right,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And then I just did the regular, normal stuff, you know, and we had the farmer's market meeting. I've contacted a few vendors that are interested. I know there's a few other people who've contacted and they've gotten some interest, so I'm looking forward to having that start.
Does this stay till with what Kelly wanted to do, or are we,
Yeah, this is, yeah.
essentially, we're staying in the village park?
Yeah.
All right, next up, no funding requests, which brings us to committee reports. We can just keep having the conversation. Farmers market, Lisa, myself, Carol, and Pat. We were at the first meeting, was it last week?
Thursday,
Thursday?
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Thursday or Wednesday.
Thursday.
I was gonna say, I don't think I forgot about it. But yeah, I don't know, Lisa, if you would just wanna kind of give us where we're at, and then Carol can discuss the money.
Well, I mean, you know, we all
Registered some
kind-
names.
We registered some names. We made the decision at the meeting that we would start out in the village park and as it grows.
See where it goes.
And see where it goes, and if it grows, then we, you know, we move on to bigger and take over, you know, additional spaces or?
The idea was to have maybe, flowers and plants and one hub and then vegetables and, just kind of have everything sectioned out by certain categories. So then eventually if it grows and we have enough vendors, we can have a district where it's flowers, and then maybe by the Bailey Street parking lot, you have all your vegetables, and then it encourages people to make a loop. So they're walking the town instead of just staying in one point. But we don't want to start that way because we need to just keep things.
Gotta get the volume.
Yeah, we're trying to focus on quality vendors for a true farmer's market, and that's our goal. So just kicked around a lot of ideas initially, got everything set up, and it starts, what is it, the
June 2nd.
June 2nd. So anybody who's interested in volunteering and helping out the actual day of, it's definitely something where we're gonna, we'll need manpower. So it's basically just to make sure, vendors are checked in and no issues come up because they're running their own booths, so it's not like a lot of, not a lot of grunt work. So you got a weekend
Do
available.
any sort of entertainment? I know
We
like
talked about maybe one specific weekend being
Royal
focused
Oak, I
on.
know that brings in a lot of people. When you have like a kid person there, it brings people in because it's a free thing to do on a Saturday morning.
Right.
Just a,
Yeah, I don't think we budgeted for that at all. That wasn't really discussed, but we can always
just
run it by
wondering.
and see what kind of money we get, and that kind of leads us to our next point. Is Carol, what were you going to?
Well, just to
request?
bring up to speed, I did file for a nonprofit corporation. We're going to treat this as a separate entity, treat it as a business. I did get a federal ID number for it, so we can open a bank. I did secure the name Village Farmers Market. I also secured Romeo's Farmers Market and Village of Romeo Farmers Market. So those names are all locked to that.
And it's
to the thing.
Village Farmers Market is what we're kind of going with.
That's
we
the
just
main
wanted
name, right.
to kind of have backups so nobody could go down the street and do
Open
the same
another
thing. Right. So we're just trying to.
And I've talked to about half a dozen or so farmers that I do books for and tax returns and stuff like that. And some of them had been at the old farmers market, and they were very, very excited about a new group of people taking over the farmers market. And they were going to contact Kelly to, in fact, 2 of them said that they would be there definitely.
Great.
So the response is good.
Good.
Like anything else, it costs money to operate. And right now the DDA and the chamber are partnering to kind of run this thing and make it a success. In order to do that, you have to print flyers, you have to make signboards, you have to pay the license fees. So I suggested possibly allocating $1,000 out of our budget for this year to go towards that project. And I asked Kelly if she would go to her board and ask for the same amount. And she thought 500 might be more appropriate, so that we'd each be kind of kicking in 500. And there would be accountability to both boards to let them know, what was going on, what was being spent.
And that can come back at the committee report.
Sure,
Right.
sure.
And I think anything that we do put in, it should be an even match between, we shouldn't be putting up 1,000 for the chamber to put up 500. I mean, this is something.
Right,
we
it
need
should
to
be
make
kind of
sure is-
equal,
I agree.
So it'd be like the DDA's nonprofit, or it's.
Well, we didn't want to mix.
How does that?
We didn't want to mix money,
Right.
basically, because Kelly or anybody at the chamber, or anybody who's a director on this farmer's market shouldn't have access to DDA money, in my opinion. You know, they shouldn't have access to a card to purchase things or anything like that. So that was kind of the idea of doing it as a separate entity so that, you know.
So for
Is
some.
that in the board of the, it's a nonprofit board, so,
Like it's a community or part of us though?
So
I
it's
just
part
don't
of us.
understand.
If you make 20 grand, who owns the 20 grand?
Yeah, I get it.
the
Is it
nonprofit
DDA?
does.
Well, what do you
But
do
who's
with
the-
it?
Well, we can reimburse the DDA for funds that they've given us,
So if
funded
this
us.
continues to just grow and grow and grow and grow.
But aren't we not allowed
Well,
to give to nonprofit?
The idea was to do something more like a scholarship.
Yeah, but if
or
she's asking us to give money to this, which is a nonprofit.
But
even
the
though it's
board
us.
of this nonprofit are all DDA and chamber members
Well, that's,
right now.
We can.
because we still have to,
We can't give to charities.
Well, wasn't, the other
It's
thing
not a
was,
charity.
No, I don't.
the other thing that initially, we're not even making money, the idea, we were brought up not even charging the vendors, we want quality, so
Just
really
wanted
there's
to-
not money.
We just want a farmer's market.
Being brought in,
Okay.
because we're not
It's
being,
really-
we're not
I
gonna.
mean, really, the
charge
only reason we
vendors.
need
We
some
talked about
startup money is
25.
for
Advertising.
advertising.
Signage.
Which I'm all for, I just.
If you have a debit card or whatever.
Like Lisa
you
uses
can't-
it for purchase.
Sure, we can give to any community project. That's why we set up as a nonprofit. So it's not for profit at all. And it has to be there has to be accountability to that, to the board members. And since the DDA and the chamber are the board members, it's gonna be accountability to us to know how it was spent. It's not like we can take a trip to Jamaica with it,
You won't get back
Yet.
those $500.
unless we gotta go get flowers from there. Now, then that's a different story.
So can we have a funding request next time?
Funding request for Jamaica flowers, yes.
You've got the $500 for the,
Is there one on the table right now?
We'll do-
no, she didn't. She said she didn't have a funding request here.
I could write one up really quick if I.
Yeah, do we have to have it on
want to say.
paper? I
So how
mean,
many vendors you gonna have?
Hold on, let's go, can we just go back to Bill's point on that? I don't know if we necessarily, you know, Kelly comes to us as the chamber and makes a funding request. We agreed to partner up with the chamber on this event. So do we as a board, should this entity be coming to this board and making a funding request, or are we,
Yes.
is that how you wanted?
We want them out there as a legal separation from us.
Okay.
Because we don't want liability for these people. And
Correct.
putting $500 into this 501c3 they've set up. Certainly, whatever they're talking about doing brings people to downtown, and that's the only possible reason for our existence. So I think it's, the $500 is perfectly reasonable. If it's appropriate, I would make a motion that we
And I
fund
will-
the,
I will
whatever
do
this,
the
what is the
appropriate-
name of this?
Village Farmers Market.
Village Farmers Market to the tune of $500. And if nobody wants to second it, it's not, whatever.
I'd second that.
You can't.
You're a board member.
Oh,
Director.
that's right. I abstain.
Ted will.
So we're gonna donate the money to them,
Yeah.
and the money, or donate it to that 501. And then what are they gonna buy insurance if somebody trips and falls or something? How's that
We'll
work?
look into it.
They would carry the same,
General liability.
because I'm
I
sure that's
don't
all part of
think-
the permit,
I don't think there was any,
right?
I don't think she had insurance prior.
Well, regardless of what she does, I mean, it doesn't matter. I understand what Ted's saying, like, is it gonna come back to the DDA, and where you're saying, okay.
Well,
now
it's
that-
public property, it's Romeo's property. If someone wants to
Right.
sue, someone's gonna sue.
Aren't they covered by, I mean, they're pulling a permit that's approved by the village, so at that point, isn't that all, we're operating with a permit, so.
So you need a
Sure.
permit to put your tomatoes out through the state of
You need a
Michigan?
If you want
permit
the park.
to use the park.
Oh, you need a permit to use
Yeah.
the
Which the
permit.
village
Which
does.
is where-
And they did go to the village and they did approve it.
So the individual
And how much
vendors
does that
don't
permit
have to
cost?
do it.
Nothing.
Just, you need to let them
You
get
just need
permission.
permission.
And then you spend money on doing these?
Doing flyers, doing Facebook ads, doing billboard, you know, the billboard things that you put down by the expressway, the day of the event.
You charge anybody that comes into town a small fee just to come in?
No,
Not this year.
yeah, I don't think.
Maybe, you don't think we ever will?
No, we're not gonna charge people to come to our farmer's market.
We want,
No, no.
we want.
At the
Everybody's talking
most,
about
we
the
were
vendors.
talking about was
Farmers
$10.
We
themselves.
talked about $10, it was 40, and I heard some people had to pay more than that. But it was, they used to pay $40 a table.
Yeah. The goal.
I was thinking 0, but we do
Is to bring-
need to have some advertising dollars, so $10 we thought was a fair number.
The goal is to bring people to town. That's the sole purpose of the farmer's market. That's why originally, you know, that's why the chamber came to us to partner up with it, since we're the village entity and we can partner up
And to
on.
promote our local farmers.
Yeah, it's,
Do
I think.
other farmer markets charge?
Yes.
Other farmer markets charge, other farmers
lot.
markets are ran by their local DDAs and chambers, like
They charge a lot.
Kelly had previously
Well,
stated.
$40 to $100.
That's
Just to get in?
No, that's for the
No,
stand.
just
Just
for,
to
to
add
you
your
sell your.
Each week?
Five
Yeah.
vendors.
So you're,
They don't charge
So you're
the
corn-
kid.
Yeah,
cow.
walk in the
That's a
door
lot
to
of
buy
money.
stuff, no.
Yeah,
No.
Mount Clemens charges $650 for the season.
But you
So-
guys are already
They have a waiting
decided we're
list.
not charging, right?
I think we came down to $10
$10.
Um,
But there's a motion on the
yeah, there,
board.
we have a
We're looking
motion by
for a second.
Parker.
Hold up, $10 per booth?
Yeah.
Yes.
For the year.
If this was your booth.
For the whole year?
$10.
No,
No.
a weekend.
Oh,
For a weekend.
Oh.
Okay.
This was your booth, it'd be $10. Are you looking for a second?
Yes.
$500?
I'll second.
It's second by Chika.
I waive. He
So
said-
is the idea that this would be like a one-time request? Because then it, once we got it started, the money from the vendors would generate itself?
Well,
We're hoping so.
Hopefully.
Let's see how successful it is.
If it fails, it
Yeah.
fails, there won't be any more.
and we can talk about it at the
Market,
budget
period.
meeting too, and just kind of say,
I agree.
like, I'd like to have something in place so we know, we don't want to have to come back, we don't want anybody coming back month after month and saying, well, we need $500 more, we need we can't.
No, that's not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
This is seed money to get it going.
but I
There
don't,
could be enough at the end of the season to pay the DDA back.
A one-time motion.
yeah, but can we, there's
That's
a,
what I said,
but
can we get,
But you'll need it for the next
there's a
season.
motion on the table to approve the funding request, but we don't have paperwork. We
I can
make,
make paperwork.
we have everybody else fill out the form, go through the I'd like to
So-
approve it as something different than a funding request,
what can we do to?
because
When's our next meeting?
I'm not even reference, I think we should, in point of fact, put up the seed money, for the, which is, we've determined to be $500 from us and apparently.
However you
500
wanna
from the
word it.
chamber. You can
So-
word it any,
I don't think we need a funding request if it's
No.
our own deal.
You can, as a board member, make a motion to do
Yeah, I
something.
guess we don't need.
right, I'd rather not have it as a funding
Yeah,
request on
it's just a
the,
motion, yeah.
yeah.
Lisa,
A
what do you
motion to
have written down there?
participate.
I've got a motion by Parker, second by Chika, to approve the request to provide startup money for the farmer's market.
And that was, the request is from Carol, so there's no mention of a,
And I'll
funding-
act as the
and she's
treasurer of
acting as the
the
liaison of this
entity.
group, so I
Right.
think we're properly worded to meet Zach's objections. There's no word in there about funding request, it was seed money for the
Okay.
seed.
So, all right, we have
Startup
a
money,
motion on
however
the
you-
table by Parker, second by Chika. Lisa, can you do a roll?
I don't think so. Okay. Hang on one second. Okay, Parker,
Yeah.
Chika,
Yes.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Kraft,
Yeah.
Hayes,
Yes.
Humphreys,
Yes.
Seidel,
Yes.
Siglo,
Abstain.
motion carries.
Oh,
I
and
don't
Hayes
think I
would
can vote on it.
be- Well, neither could I,
Well, just to
neither
be
could
safe.
Zach.
Just to be safe, I abstained.
All right, fair enough.
It passed, it
Anyway,
passed
passed.
before me.
All right, nothing under unfinished business. Next under new business, 2018-2019 budget workshop meeting date. Is there any date that somebody can't do? Is there anything that
The day you pick.
Why don't we just do it the next meeting?
you gotta have
It has
before
to be
then?
approved the next meeting. That's why I sent this out to you guys. We have to do two budgets. We have to do the year-end budget, the final budget, and then we have to do our proposed budget that needs to go to the village for their June meeting. So it has to be approved, our June meeting, go to village for their June meeting, and then ratified at our July meeting.
Can we do it 2 weeks from today? Does that work for everybody?
I think I'm gonna be out of town. No seriousness. You're talking about when?
The 16th?
I know I'll be out of town.
Okay,
What about 9?
next Wednesday.
You talking the 16th?
Bill can't do the 16th.
Yeah, but I'm hardly.
I gotta
important.
check too.
When you see the budget, you're gonna realize how important you are.
I don't think so.
Because if
Yeah, we
you
can always say, I mean, and he's right though, I mean, if that works for everybody else, he
works
still
for
has a
me.
chance to look at it too at the,
If you don't
So.
show up, you don't get paid as much for being here.
We're supposed to be in Harbor Springs that night. I know
The
that.
16th works for me. Oh, man, I
I
forgot.
was like, wait a second.
Parker's the only one we pay.
split it up.
Alright, so the
got
16th
one
work
dog
then, let's put it down for 7 o'clock. Where do we wanna meet?
Right here,
We're
right?
here.
Okay.
Wait, you got a better place?
No.
You got a better place? I
No,
know
There's
there.
our flower-
I'm thinking something a little more,
I think one more year.
Can you do a
Beverage
budget discussion?
discussion?
tangible, yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be so proper, right? What's that?
Probably should. You pick a place.
We did it at my place, at the shop, got the big table.
It's up to you.
Works for me.
Does it have to be a public meeting?
No, never has before.
It's just a workshop.
You gonna have beverages?
Take your
You're
request.
bringing
BYOB.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll leave it at the car. I'll leave it at the car.
alright, so we're good for the 16th. If anything comes up where somebody can't make it, just let us know so we have an idea ahead of time, but
Can
we'll do
you-
7 o'clock.
Can you send out a meeting
So
notice
print
though,
out
Lisa?
this page.
I'm going out of town, I don't know what, I gotta check the calendar. I got
Okay.
a wedding I gotta go and see, so I don't know
Alright.
if it's that week.
It'll be a Wednesday, so it's,
Yeah.
unless you got
People are looking.
golf,
Families
golf.
Walking around.
DDA 7 o'clock, right?
That takes care of, we don't need a vote on that, right?
No.
Next, under new business, we have planters, but we already wrapped that up in
Yeah.
the director's report.
Right.
So that takes care of new business. Board member comments?
I have a question. What do we wanna do about this clock that,
Yeah.
that's been my job for 2 years? Now
Let's,
it's gone
I'd
completely.
say we bring it up at the
yeah,
budget.
yeah, because it needs to be replaced and we need the budget for it. And
How much it was there any cost to repair it?
it's done.
It's junk. It blew over.
We need
Oh,
a new
it was
one.
in it when it blew over?
The face wasn't.
No, the
The face
face,
The
wasn't,
face was
but,
out of it.
I heard somebody actually knock it down.
The
coming up
framing,
the
you
bar.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
anything possible around
The
here.
day he was supposed to, the day the guy was supposed to, the next day he was supposed to pick it up and they knocked it down the night before.
They knocked out the damn
No, it was
pole
during the
down?
day.
I heard it was during the night.
No, because Mike
Well,
Mike went and taped it because it was dangerous, and he went back to check on it, it was laying down.
But a new one is $9,000.
How the hell can you
Police.
knock that pole down?
It's all,
It's not.
it was.
It was rotted away,
it was
rotted.
the
rotted
face
away
was
to begin
bad.
So
with.
do we even need to
Castings.
discuss a new one?
the castings were cracked.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, we'll discuss it at the budget meeting
This much.
and see where we can, well, because we've got, we should be, have
We have money.
$35,000 coming to us, right? So,
That's the one I collect.
I went to Jamaica with that.
yeah, alright.
That wasn't.
You're on camera. All
If they
right.
believe that,
For flowers, right?
whatever.
Jamaica
So
Township.
that's where some of that can come from. So, any other board member comments?
I've heard a number of incredibly positive comments about the posters.
Yeah, no,
They look great.
Banners.
Yeah, the
Yes,
banners,
it looks great.
really, it's,
Everybody likes, they pop this
they
time.
pop, they've got color, and people notice them, and people are walking around
They are.
looking at
Well,
them.
like I can and they're
Yeah, they're
short.
pretty low on the sidewalks, on the shorter poles. Man, if you're riding your bike and you gotta go around, you know, a kid or something, you're gonna.
We had-
Can we get my shirt
similar-
on camera?
I thought you weren't gonna wear it. All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Parker, second by President Sigel, all in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.